Excited about day one. We've broken down this preseason into phases, so we've had a great phase one for us leading into the first official practice. And we're approaching phase two, which is all about growth. So we laid a good foundation about playing the way we want to play, and now we got to get detailed and start to really get better at some things leading into what will be phase three for us, which will be some specific prep for some of our exhibition games and first game November 4th. So with that, all right, let's do some questions.
Adam, go ahead and jump in.
Jake, I think I counted all 16 players out there. Everybody's here. How healthy are you to get started?
Pretty healthy. Yeah, pretty healthy. We'll have everybody in practice today. Some guys are still getting back to full go, but we're pretty close.
And how long have you been thinking about your first practice as a head coach?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the time. They were, probably months ago I was thinking about it. Then we've had so much going on, I wasn't thinking about it a whole lot. And then, this past probably 72 hours, really just going back, checking notes, making sure we're covering everything we need to. And some of it's been adjusted to what we've been able to do so far this fall.
You talked about style of play. Obviously, you have some new guys, but a lot of these guys got to go through that a little bit with you. How much does that give you a head start as opposed to starting over in the summer?
I think we had some guys that had an expectation as to what practice would look like, but so many new pieces. We're still doing different things than we did even at the end of the season last year, so it's pretty new for everybody. But I think the guys who did return at least have a feel for what the expectations are from a pace and urgency standpoint in practice.
Five power conference opponents on the non-conference schedule. What do you like how this schedule hits the ground running, and what do you feel the benefit of that will be for the team?
Yeah, I do, and we got to get ready for Big Ten play. And you look at our not just Power 5, but really good Power 5 teams. So excited about our non-conference schedule. We can't look too far ahead, obviously, because that'll hurt you in any one of those games, and some of the other games we have in between there with the Missouri Valley league that we've scheduled. So really good, tough non-conference schedule. Excited about it, and we know we got to be ready come November 4th.
How is Ivan settling in?
Good. Yeah, Yvonne's having a good time. He's a great young man who is, I think, enjoying getting acclimated to being here. His first time coming to the U.S. was in August. So we got a great group of guys who've kind of put their arms around him, help him get settled in. But he's playing well too.
This is your first full year. I know you had a chance to kind of show what you can do as a coach, but what do you hope this year establishes as a Jake Diebler Ohio State team in the national landscape?
Well, as a program, we have expectations, and we need to compete for those expectations. There's a standard in this program traditionally that we have not shied away from. You don't get there by just talking about it. You have to, recruit to it. You got to practice for it and all of that. So I don't know how long that's going to take, but we're trying to get there as quickly as we possibly can. And then I want, our former players and the people who have come before us to be really proud of the way we play, with a toughness, with an urgency, with a togetherness, that when people turn on the TV or they come to the shot to watch us, especially our former players, they look out there and are like, those guys are representing us well. Then that's important to me.
You talked about the former players. What was it like to have them back here, kind of get their feedback on the program and spend some time with all of them?
Yeah, that was special. And I don't know if you followed some of the pictures we posted online, but to have Jerry Lucas, Jimmy Jackson, Jared Sullinger, and Michael Redd on stage at the same time talking about what this program has meant to them and what was special about their championship teams. It was an awesome night. We had guys from so many different decades here, championships, like former managers, which are such an important part of our program, were here, former coaches, support staff. It was a real special night, and I think really beneficial for our group.
Jake, can you give a brief update on Taysom? He was just practicing out there with no brace or anything on just now.
Yeah, he's not going to be practicing, but he doesn't have to wear a brace to walk around and stuff, and he's able to, get up, move around. But he's got a long progression. We've been happy with how he's progressing, but it's going to take some time.
It seems like you have a lot of guard depth this year. Can you just talk about the backcourt?
Yeah, I think it's a real strength for us. Talented, certainly, but experienced. And that's not to say that our inexperienced guys can't play a big role either. I've been impressed with both freshmen. So really like our backcourt, and I feel like it's going to be, like a strong foundation for us.
Jake, have you ironed out roles for the staff so far for guys that be working on specific position groups? And also, how do you feel the new staff has been working together as guys who haven't worked together previously?
Yeah, I've been impressed with how well connected our staff has been, and certainly the experience that we have up in that office is I mean, their resumes speak for themselves. So we've split up some roles. We'll split up some offensive, defensive focus. It'll be still collaborative, but and then each coach has guys they're working with specifically. But I'm also still involved heavily in the player development space as well.
What are some of the challenges you've encountered in your first off season as the head coach?
Yeah, how much time we got, Gary? No, it's listen, I'm having a blast. I think I enjoy coming to work every day. Like I don't take for granted a single day that I get to do this, and I remind myself of the responsibility that comes with being in a position, especially when you consider the relationships that I have with our former players. I like that's motivating for me. But ultimately, I just want to serve this program and serve our players as well as I possibly can. There's a time commitment that exists with that. It's a sacrifice, with your family, away from your family and things. But listen, there's some hard days, things pop up, but nothing that's been too overwhelming. And I think also I have such a great staff that I can lean on them to help carry some of the burdens that come with it. That's why I wanted to hire, Dave Dickerson. Like, he's been a head coach. He knows what that seat feels like. He can help. I can go to him and get some advice or ask him some questions. And I can do that with even the guys. Like, we have multiple guys on our staff who are ready to be head coaches. So relying on them has been, really important. But listen, there's not a day gone by where I'm like, man, this is too much. I'm loving it. I'm having a lot of fun.
Coach, how do you think Bruce and Michi are going to complement each other in the backcourt this year?
Well, if it's anything like how the fall workouts have been going, pretty good. So they're building a great chemistry. Both those guys are really good players that complement each other, and they both want to win here at Ohio State. Like that's so important to them. Both have bright futures professionally. I think there's no question about that in my mind. But they've played really well together, as have honestly the whole collection of our backcourt, which will be important for us.
Jake, what's different about Michi this year compared to years past and when you saw him last in the Scarlet and Gray?
Yeah, he's older, he's wiser, he's more mature. His game has grown. I think his there's no question he's developed and gotten better, and he's continuing to do so even just in the short time we've had since June to now. Like, I think he's getting better as well. So I think that maturity but he's still the same, like fun-loving, loves to compete, loves to play. Still, that stuff has been the same. It's just he's grown for sure.
Does this time at South Carolina, do you think that's helped him develop in getting the ball in big-time moments in tight situations? Yeah,
absolutely. Now, he did hit a game winner as a freshman here too, so he's kind of had that in his DNA. But absolutely, he had a really good career there and helped them win. Was an important part to helping them win. So, we're counting on him to have that same impact here.
Hey, time for two more. Let's go Adam and Adam.
I don't want to put down the program for the last couple of years, but the excitement around it now feels like a level we haven't seen in a while. Have you noticed that? And what does it mean to you to kind of see the fan base ready to see another run here in Ohio State reach that standard you talked about?
Yeah, I think, listen, and I'll be the first to tell you, like, I root for our football team in such a big way, and I'm really excited about this football team we have. But our fan base cares deeply about this program. There's no question about it. And that energy has been great, but I think, listen, there's been a consistency for decades with how much Buckeye Nation has cared. And we want to lean into that. We need their help in this arena. We got a tough home slate this year, without question. But this is one of the very few places in the country where people care deeply about really all sports. I mean, I took my family to a volleyball game at Covelli. That place was packed, and the energy in there was unbelievable. So I push back on the narrative like, hey, Buckeye Nation is only a certain sport or a couple sports. I think we have the best fans in the country, and we've certainly felt that energy in our program, and I imagine we can count on them to continue that on as we move forward this year.
You talked about the different phases in preseason. What do you want to see most these first couple of days as you do get this phase going?
Yeah, well, we got to install some things. We got to grow our playbook. We got to grow our defensive schemes. So I'm excited to see. We've picked things up, and it's translated to live play pretty quickly, which is good. Speaks to some of the veterans we have, but also I think the overall basketball IQ on our team. So I'm excited to see now that we're going to have more time, we can kind of throw a little bit more at them from a standpoint of adding things, adding things that we need that are going to be important, heading into November. And I'm hoping to see, as we add stuff, that continue to translate quickly. But I'll tell you this right now, our guys have competed at a really high level. That's never, like, we have not wavered on that from day one in June. So I don't see any reason why that's going to stop. And then our guys have shared the ball at a high level. They've played well together, and we've established a pace so far that's been pretty good for a fall camp. So I think those things will continue to be staples for us.
Do you start with captains? Or
Excuse me?
do you start with captains, or do you figure that out as you go along?
We'll evaluate that stuff as it goes. Yep.
Coach, thanks.
All right, guys.